being a member of the community. I interpreted when he said that as kind of a challenge of wanting to be who you are and having all these individual traits. And like for Arnold, he was very ambitious and he wanted to push himself beyond what he was being challenged to do in his school reservation. So having that ambition and that personality trait in him to pursue studying more, and he left his community and he tried to be a part of this other community. It was challenging because he was different, it was far away, he wasn't treated great by the teacher that we read the quote about earlier. So he's trying to find his place over there, but it's hard because as he's trying to find his place in that community, he loses his place a little bit in the community that he came from, and when that individual person who is conflicted with that identity, even though he didn't fit in that building to begin with, he got beat up a lot. Just my interpretation of that was the struggle with who you are and how that fits in with who everybody else is around you, and the setup that is over there as you're trying to
Maybe do you want to share?
Yeah, sure. So when I read this passage, it kind of reminded me of a situation in which he found himself in a double bind, where if he continued to stay on the reservation and in that community, and kind of follow in others' footsteps with like drinking and like working the casino, then that would kind of be seen as like a negative thing through some people's perspective, because he's feeding into that like stereotype of what it means to be Native American. But then also when he branches out and goes to this different community in which he's the part of a minority, he's also then like somewhat shunned by his community back home, because he's kind of seen as like a traitor. And so it's a double bind in that no matter which path he chooses, whether he stays or whether he goes, he is kind of like forced into like this negative like path.
And I think that like the passage on like right before the constant struggle between individuals and like the community, right before that it says like they call me an apple because they think I'm red on the outside and white on the inside. And I think that's like really, really telling of like a lot of Junior's identity. So like this is a good transition. Like we're gonna do some more like critical thinking questions. So more specifics, like what kind of role does like race play in this novel? Like why is it important? Why is it significant? Like give me some examples.
Just a little side note off of what you just read. It kind of made me think that in a lot of times people view race as like a phenotype of like the color of your skin, but in that passage we see that like he's described as like a traitor because he appears one way, but he's described as white on the inside, which means that like being white isn't just the color of the skin, but also it like what contributes to that is the way that you act, which is why like being called a traitor in this situation like seems so deceitful, because he's appearing to be one way but he's acting in another.
I think that is like really telling of like the connection between race and culture, because they are distinct and like can often be separate.
I think it also like depends on the Native American community, because the reservation that's by my house is like certain parts of it have a lot of poverty, but I mean they have like a really nice high school and they have, you know, really nice facilities at this reservation, and it's a big reservation. But I think that you know, like he said in the book, it is ran all by the casino in the town. So I mean it's one of the biggest casinos in the state of Washington, and they can make a lot of money off of that. But even though they have all these nice things around them, I still think about how, you know, that would be like my only place to work if I wanted to be able to get money from the casino. And I go to the casino, I love it so much. But I think that when I see them working there, I can tell that they're really not happy. Like they, when someone wins and they pass out the money, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're just not excited. Like if you go to the casinos, that are, just ran by the state or something like that, the people that work there are like super excited when you win money, and it just shows that they don't want to be there and that this is all they have to do. So I find that's just something I've noticed when I've gone or driven through the Muckleshoot Indian Reservation. And a lot of the kids went to my middle school, and then they would transfer to that high school, and it was like almost forced because they had the opportunity, to go to my high school, but it was like their family said once you graduate from 8th grade, you need to go to the high school. It's like part of tradition. Like you're not going to play sports against non-Indian people. Kind of like in the book, it was like when they played against the school he transferred to.
So we're like running really low on time. So I have like so many questions, but I'll just like read 2, and y'all can pick which one you want to answer because we still have to take a quiz. So, some questions that we can potentially answer. What does this book teach us about making assumptions? How is the portrayal of Native Americans significant to the text, specifically from Junior's point of view, and like the distinction from his point of view versus like his white peers and their point of view of Native Americans? And then why might a text like this be important in schools? Like this text is banned from a lot of schools. I looked into it mostly because of like the inclusion of like masturbation, and like it says that it promotes pornography. So why might this text be important in school? Feel free to answer anyone.
There's no like Native American texts out there that are for kids. Like most of them are historical books and stuff like that, and this is more of like an interesting way to be able to engage in their culture and see what's going on. I think that's crazy that it's banned.
I will